Good day to one and all. I am Dr. Shashikala S, Associate Professor. I would be talking on the topic of communalism. It's a culture diversity society paper, non-core paper. Chapter 3, Communalism. Introduction to communalism. So let's talk about communalism, which has become one of the greatest challenge in the modern Indian society. We see that it's a trend where it has been accompanied with violence, and it has created a lot of insecurity among the religious minority and ethnic group. So communalism arises among the society where there is a particular religion or a sub-religion. They want to protect their own interest at the expense of others. So we see that it's purely a distinguished, which is purely on the basis of religion. Let's talk about the definitions. We have our own Ram Ahuja, who says the antagonistic practiced by the people of one community against the people of another community, and the religion is termed as communalism. For example, he says that falsely accusing, harming, and deliberately insulting a particular community and extend to looting, burning down the homes and shops of the helpless and the weak, dishonoring of women, and even killing persons. So it is absolutely clear from the above definition, we see that the society, there is some sort of ideology which the society perceives, but there is a sort of antagonism, there is a sort of disharmony among the people, and it leads to some kind of, not a clear definition, but a sort of which is disturbing to the entire society. Again, we see Abdul Hamid, another scholar, who talks about the communalism as a social phenomena which is characterized by the religion of two communities, often leading to acrimony, tension, and even rioting between them. On the whole, we see that communalism is an instrument in the hands of upper class to concentrate the power by dividing the people. Yes, sometimes dividing the people. The elite strives to maintain their statuses. Mainly, we see this things happening on the communal line. And of course, we see that communalism believes that people of different religion have different interest in political and economic matter. But in spite of wherever they belong, whichever nation or provinces, we see that there is some kind of communal disharmony which are happening among the people. As I've already been told before, the communalism, we can interpret the definition that it denotes an antagonism between different religious groups. It is always an instrument in the hands of upper class to concentrate the power by dividing the people. Another side, we see that it is perceived as a total commitment to a set of belief which is far from rationality. And in the Indian context, it has been gone to such an extent to divide on the basis of religion and ethnicity, leading to communal violence in spite of peace and brotherhood. Next, we talk about the characteristics of communalism. Yes, the communalism as an ideological concept, a complex process, which is a broader base, encompasses only on socio-economic and political aspects. We also see that communalism causes conflict, violence, tension among the masses. Sometimes the higher class people, the elites, who use it as an instrument for division and exploitation of communal identity. Mainly those who are affected from these are the poorer section of the population. Sometimes we also perceived it as a threat for democracy, secularism, and national integration. On the whole, we can say that it is an effect of disastrous situation. So, whatever I had just explained about the characteristics of communalism. Next, we talk about the dimensions of communalism. We have various. The first one, we call it as the assimilationist communalism, where it's a small religious group which are assimilated or integrated, and then they become a big religious group. For example, we just call these like scheduled caste, the Hindus, the Jain, the Sikh, they come under this. Second one, the welfarist communalism. We see that a particular community, by improving the living standard and providing for education and health of Christians by the Christian Association, or Parsis for the upliftment of Parsis. So they work for their own community. The third one, the retreat community, is one in which the small religious community group, they have their own particular interest. Then we talk about the retaliatory communalism, who attempt to harm, hurt, and injure the member of other religious community. Then we have the separatist communalism, which is one of the religious or cultural group who want to maintain their own cultural specificity, and they demand a separate territorial state within the country. For example, we can talk about the Bodos in Assam or the Gorkhas in the West Bengal. Then we can talk about the secessionist communalism. These are the religious community who want to have their own political identity, and they want to have their own independent state. Like we can talk about the example of the Sikh population who are demanding for Khalistan, or some Muslim militant who are engaged in a particular type of communalism. So these are the various dimensions of communalism. Then we talk about the causes of communalism, various numerous causes. First of all, we'll talk about the feeling of discrimination among the Muslims, which is the main cause of communalism, where the Muslims had failed to be an integral part of the national mainstream. They do not participate in the secular nationalist politics, and they insist on maintaining a separate identity. Then we talk about the religious orthodox and the fundamentalist who want to have a distinct identity of their own. These are the strong elements of conservatism and fundamentalism among the Muslim. Then we talk about the communalism as a bad legacy of British rule. We see that yes, in India, because of the communalist leader of both Hindu and Muslim community, it desired to flourish in the interest of the community, where they demanded for a separate electorate, or the British rule, where we see the divide and rule policy. Next, we talk about the poor economic condition, where in India we have seen that a majority of Muslims have failed to adopt to the science and technological education. Due to this, there has been some hardships. Then we talk about the geographical causes. The territorial settlement of different religious groups, especially the Hindu, Muslim, and Christians, made a wide variations in the mode of life, standard of living, and the beliefs system. Then we talk about the historical causes. Yes, the historical causes, the Muslim all over the subcontinent are converts from Hinduism. It is due to the caste-hate relation and under the compulsion of Muslim rulers. There were problem of low caste, upper caste. Then the foreign elite that never sharpened the power with them. So we see that gradually the elements of communalism entered into the Muslim community, the separatist element in the Muslim community, which had discouraged the other communities. As a result, the Muslim League was formed, which demanded for the partition of the country. Then we talk about the social causes. The cultural similarity is a powerful factor in relation between any other groups. Like we see the social institution, customs, practice of Hindus and Muslims are so different that they think themselves to be a two distinct communities. Then we talk about the psychological factor, which plays a very important role. These feeling leads to communal ill feeling. Then we talk about the provocation of enemy countries, where we see that some foreign countries try to destabilize our country by setting one community against the other. We have seen since ages that Pakistan has played a role in fostering communal feeling among the Muslim of our country, and Pakistan has been encouraging the communal riots. Then we talk about the negative impact of mass media, the messages which are related to the communal tension or riot in any part of the country, which is given through the media. It results in further tension and riot between the rival groups. So let's next talk about the measures to eradicate communalism. Yes, we see that communalism is paralyzing the entire society. The communal riot poses a threat to the religious harmony. So we can just see that there are various measures. We can term it as long term and short term. The long term, which is we can see to make the people free from communal frenzies and passions. We have to educate the people to become free from communal prejudice. Next, we can see that preventing communalization of the state and political elites in power. Communalization of state and the political elite in power has to be checked, and only then, because it leads to inaction against communal violence and leads to covert or the ideological support of communalism, including the media, should be under the control. Next, we have to protect the civil society from being communalized. So the need of the hour is the communalization of civil society needs to be protected, because there will be communal riots and other form of violence which keeps happening. So people with communal ideas and ideologies should act in a manner which always is against the principle of secularism. So the secular state, they should succumb to the pressure of these communal people. It is here that the intellectual and political party and voluntary organization which can be more effective. Next, very important is the education system should be free from communal ideas and ideologies, because education is based on new cultural ideologies which can protect the young people against philosophies and ideas of hate. Hence, patriotic feelism and sentiments should be encouraged. Next, we see the role of media. Yes, the biggest part, the most significant part, which is useful in preventing communal feeling. Communal press can be banned and legal action should be taken against communal writers. Next, we see about the ideology that economic development by itself brings down communalism is not correct, because the ideology, the growth of capitalism and the growth of working class would weaken and ultimately eliminate communalism should not be overplayed. So next we talk about the legislation against forcible conversions. The forcible conversion from one religion to another religion, particularly from Hinduism to Christianity and Islam, is one of the major causes of communal riot. So it is necessary that all these activities should be banned and declared as illegal. Next, we see there are some short-term immediate measures in order to set up the peace community, where the individual belonging to different religion community can work together to spread goodwill, fellow feeling, and remove the feeling of fear and hatred. Next, we see the use of new strategy and plan by the state. The state has to plan and use new strategies to in dealing with communal violence, because the riots are making use of the modern equipment and weapons to spread communalism. Next, a proper supervision of media. It is immensely heightened during the course of communal violence. The media should exercise great restraint and stop the rumors. And lastly, we see the suppressing the extremists. The government in power has to treat their extremist communal outfit as its intermediary target and cripple the capacity to disrupt law and order. Thank you, one and all.